Welcome to the show. Geek Insider presents Into the Geekverse, the place to get an inside look at movies, comics, games, tech, and everything exciting going on in the Geekverse. Join Matthew Harris and David King as they take a deeper look at the good, the bad, and the downright terrible things our Geekverse has to offer. With live chat, geek news, special guests, and lots more. So sit back, relax, and join us for a peek into the Geekverse.
We are back after a 2-week hiatus. We are back, and as you can see, I got a special guest co-host with me. Oh, he's over there. Say a few words.
Gracias por comprar la versión en español de Deadpool de Astro.
I don't know what he said. But this, guys, is our comic book convention recap.
Have you seen my abs? No, really, where are they?
We actually, folks, we attended the Bell County Comic Con last weekend. David flew from Tennessee into Texas, and we went to the Comic Con. Now, this is a small con. Supposedly, it's in a small town. It's between Austin and Waco. That's about the best way to describe it. And folks, I've been going. I'm a certified geek. I've been going to Comic Cons for a lot of years, several decades. Bell County Comic Con is my favorite. It is really my favorite. And David actually decapitated Deadpool over there. This thing is neat. It says over 600 things. We're kind of worried about what he might say on the show. But as you can see, it articulates and does all kinds of stuff. But we kind of changed up the intro this time. You know, I'm Matthew Harris. This is David King. We are Into the Geekverse, brought to you by GeekInsider.com. And guys, on this show, we are going to be going over a lot of the stuff we saw at the con. And so if you're tuning in on the podcast, you know, if you got the video capability on your platform, then you'll be able to see the video as well. But otherwise, you might want to head over to our YouTube channel to check this out, because we're going to be showing some photographs and little cool things that we ran across over that weekend.
Guys, there's a lot of really cool stuff. If you like this prop of the Deadpool head, stay tuned, because we've got a lot of details to share about our experience, what we've seen, the vendors, the really hospitality that was provided. I'd like to give a thanks out to everybody that was involved with helping us be able to get our press passes in, people who stopped to be able to take pictures, allowed us to show them on here. Matthew, who else? We got a lot of people to thank.
Yeah, a big one is Johnny. I'm not sure what his position is on the con. He's the man I've talked to several years in a row when we've gone out there and gotten media credentials. But Johnny is super busy. He's behind the scenes. He's the puppet master. He's got everything going. And Johnny, if you tune in, man, thanks so much. Guys, one thing that you got to realize is that a lot of people request press passes or media credentials to this con. Just like most cons. And this year they had to only accept about a third of the applications. And me and David, being as cool as we are, they were like, hell yeah, we want you guys. But yeah, we were lucky enough to get press passes to this. And press passes, you know, they do afford you a lot of leeway. Unfortunately, I know a couple of weeks ago we were talking about that we were going to have some kick-ass interviews going on. That was so packed, we couldn't get interviews. And I would have sold my soul to get the interview with Ray Park. But in case you don't know who that is, it's Darth Maul. He played Toad in the original X-Men movie. But the whole time we were there, his line was a quarter mile long. No, it wasn't that long, but it was huge. People were standing in line. And the thing is what we found out is that Ray doesn't do a lot of these conventions specifically because the media hounds him. And so there was no way in hell I was going to even try to get an interview. They had spent 2.5 years trying to get Ray out there. It was cool getting to see him. You know, we saw him as we walked by, but I wasn't going to sit in that line, for an autograph. I kind of wish I had, but.
Yeah, it got really crazy. I mean, I remember the line spanning so far, it was blocking vendors and stuff. Imagine how awkward that would be to be standing and then the vendor be like, "Oh, can I help you?" But I'm not in line for you. I'm in line for them.
And that was one thing that was kind of made you feel a little bad, but I think they need to kind of rethink the layout, because near Ray Park they had some wrestlers. They had some Clint Howard. And granted, these are folks that have a following, but Ray Park has this big long line, and then nobody is in these other lines. And you kind of just felt bad for them. But all in all, guys, this year, okay, let me back up. What was it? 2020, height of the pandemic. No.
It was before
the pandemic. So it's 2019. 2019, we go. Great freaking convention. Had a really good time. Go ahead.
That was the one that you got your tattoo at, the first one.
Yeah. This is when I got, let me see. I got the Robin and Nightwing scratch. I got that at the con. And got a really good deal on it. There wasn't any tattoo artists there this year, but we still got tattoos. We'll talk about those later. But yeah,
cool. Stay tuned.
Yeah, it is. But we the first year, man, we go in, and like I said, I've been to a lot of cons. I grew up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I really got into the comics in the 90s where they were really booming. There were some really cool cons back then. This was the time, though, David, that a lot of the cover models for the comic books were really endowed, and they had models that they used. And so they would have these models at the conventions. And I'm talking scantily clad, boobs hanging out. I took a neighbor kid of mine, he's 14, 15 years old. He cracked me the hell up because we went around a corner and there's this girl with probably triple D's. I mean, some of the hugest boobs you've ever seen. They're barely covered. And he looks at me and he goes, "Well, them are some all-day suckers." And I almost dropped to my knees laughing so hard. But that isn't the way conventions are now. You don't see that. They're family friendly. They have such a variety of stuff. You've got authors, you've got artists, you've got vendors, you've got movie people, you got famous people.
Now, this year, we had food trucks where we didn't have, I think, neither of the years before. They also opened more halls, and it's not just comic book related things. Obviously, as y'all have heard beforehand, where we talked about them having more anime related stuff. And there is a lot of anime stuff, and we'll touch base on some of that here. But even some stuff me and Matthew don't know, but there was a lot of kids, teenagers, all age of really cool things to do, eat, drink, talk. The hospitality, like I was saying, was just crazy there. And I'm just saying, wives out there, if your husband's wanting to go and you're worried about the kids and everything, just bring them all.
Yeah, it's a very family-friendly environment. They have stuff for the kids. They have kids cosplay contests. They don't mix them in. They have a specific contest for the kids. And wasn't it, David, a contest for the kids, a contest for the teens, and then a contest for the adults? That seems like what I remember on the itinerary for Sunday.
Yeah, I believe so. I'd like to say thank you, Amanda, for stopping by, dropping us a comment. That does bring me real quick. Sorry to interrupt, Matthew. Guys, if y'all have comments, this is the episode out of all episodes to drop them. There's going to be things that we really don't know about, and you could school us on it. Yeah. You can talk to us enlighten us. You can talk to us about, your different opinions. What do you see that we're bringing up today that excites you the most? We're really excited to hear the words from y'all.
Yeah, because we go into these things wanting to meet people, wanting to meet cosplayers, learn about books. We've talked to some authors. I got one over here we'll discuss here in a minute. And the overall atmosphere, though, is the big draw for me. I don't go in with $1,000 to spend on collectibles, although I got to call David out. We get in there, there's some things going on. He has to go take care of something. And so I wheel my ass on around the corner. We're messaging. I tell him where I'm at. We go around the next corner, and there's the first booth of selling stuff. It was about 3 minutes, 42 seconds before David made his first purchase.
Yeah. And I ended up making 2 purchases right as we turned that corner. Which we got a slide that tells y'all and shows y'all a little bit of just how much they have to offer. And this is barely scratching the surface of how much there was there. But, we'll kind of show y'all. We've got the pictures. I'll show you what I've got. But with that being said, was there anything else before we start showing them everything, Matthew?
No, we've done a shout out to Bell County. Again, guys, this happens every year right in August. It's Bell, Bell County ComicCon.com. And usually around June, July, they start posting up what guests are going to be there. And folks, I've seen people there like Henry Winkler. He was there the first year we went. I can't ever remember his name until after I talk about him, but Greg Brady from the Brady Bunch, Sam De La Rosa, who is one hell of a known Venom and Spider-Man artist.
Which we got signed content from him.
Yeah, we got signed content from him. And but they always, yes, they have, wrestlers, and then they had a lot of people from not anime. Yeah, anime. That different folks that do voices. And so they have a good wide variety of these. And when you hear Bell County Comic Con, and it's in close to Killeen, Texas, if you know where Fort Hood is, it's just a few miles east of Killeen. And this, again, guys, it is one of really and truly, I'm going to say it's the best Comic Con because, and I'm going to call them out, David. We went to Bell County, and then we went to, I almost hate to say their name, but Wizard World. We went to Wizard World in Austin. This is supposed to be one of the best ones around, and it sucked in comparison to Bell County.
Yeah, and we were getting hyped up because of Jason Momoa, but hey, it looks like we have our second comment of the day. Hi, Daniel. Thank you for commenting, joining us on the show.
Definitely. Appreciate all listeners. Make sure you stick around. We got some news coming up at the end of the show too about a contest. I guess we'll do it off the fly, but we're going to announce the damn thing.
Man, they're calling in. Hey, Carl, thanks for joining us. Here we go.
Carl's a friend of mine, and we like to bullshit together a lot. And so, but yeah, Bell County Comic Con, folks. David flew in from Tennessee for this, and because this is our third year going. Now, 2019 was fantastic. 2020 hit, COVID. There was no convention. 2021, we went back last year, and it was just on the inside of the pandemic. There wasn't a lot of people there. There weren't a lot of vendors and artists and stuff. I mean, there were some, don't get me wrong. But this year, like David already said, they opened up a whole nother section. I don't know what you call it, a arena or whatever. And David, did you notice in the main section that we always go into the first time, they opened up that back end back there, and they had, usually that had been closed off. It looks like it's a livestock area, or that's exactly what it is.
Petting zoo.
Yeah. but they added in a whole bunch of stuff there. I fully expect that the next year is even going to be better. And this is something that I want to really point out, and then we'll start showing some content. Was that the reason that they wouldn't allow us to do interviews, or that you were going to have to get really special permission to get an interview, and it's because of you, the customers. They figured out, because every year people would come in, they'd stand in line for an hour, and then all of a sudden the guest has to go to a panel or has to go to an interview with media, and so they're screwed. Do I stand here and wait for them to come back, or do I leave and then come back and stand in line another hour? And so they cut it out this year. And Johnny had told me to get together with him Sunday, and we probably could have got some interviews. Unfortunately, guys, right before this convention, my wife went into the hospital with some major issues. And I mean, the night before David was flying in. And so it was just the worst timing ever. And it was very stressful, I will say. And so we got a late start getting there anyway, but we had a great time. And
For
so,
anybody wondering, she is doing better the last
yeah,
time.
yeah. She's home. She's feeling a hell of a lot better. We're staying on top of everything. We got some stuff being taken care of where they're coming in and checking on her. But yeah, it was a very hectic time. Just to happen all at once. My wife and I both have medical issues. We're used to it, but it just happened at the right time or wrong time. But really and truly, guys, this, if you can make it to Texas, I know there's San Diego Comic-Con and cons in Dallas and cons here.
But it's relatively cheap. It's cheap to stay around. There's more things to see around without getting the completely slam-packed busy San Diego. You know, you're not having the upcharge price of every vendor and everything that's in San Diego Comic-Con. So
the weekend pass was $60, you know, to go Saturday and
if
Sunday.
You got it early enough, it was $50.
Right. And so
and if you're military, you get a discount, and I think elderly or so. But yeah, I would definitely say, even though I haven't been to a lot, it's a really great one. Bang for your buck. It's still they put a lot of emphasis on the customers, and they want to make sure that y'all are taken care of, like Matthew said about the interviews. But with that being said, we are a bit over a quarter of the way of the show, so let's get this started.
Let's get this party started. All right. And again, this is in Bell County, Texas, folks. If you know where it's kind of situated between Temple and Killeen, Texas. It's right off of Interstate 35. It's
a giant silver titty.
Exactly what I was going to say. You can see it from the highway. It's a big giant silver titty, and it's even got a big fat nipple on it. And this is the convention center. And actually, David, I got an email today, man. I'd really like to try to go. In end of November, December, they are actually doing in Killeen a Alice in Wonderland experience where it's all outside. There's neon. People dress up as the characters. That's something we'll have to discuss because it'll be cooler and everything. But yeah, this area is a fun little area, guys, because it is a military installation, Fort Hood. It's been there forever. It is a very used base. People live all around there, and they do some cool stuff at this convention center. That's where we are. And like I said, bellcountycomiccon.com, and that's where we were. And this was the first stuff we ran into. We weren't even inside yet. We hadn't even picked up our press passes. We were trying to figure out where the hell to go to get them.
Yeah, this is right there at that front door on one of the buildings. Obviously, I'll tell you what caught my eye was this Optimus Prime wrapped Autobot logo. And if you notice, the Bell County Comic-Con logo is on it. And that's on several of these wraps and stuff, which you're going to see. We have a ton of vehicles to show you guys. Now, this top one that's wrapped on a Tesla is anime. Like we said, they're focusing on a lot on the anime here, guys. And this one's My Hero Academia. I know this one's blowing up a lot all over the place. I have not actually gotten to see it. But guys, if this is a favorite one of you, you got characters you want to talk about or anything, drop them in the comments down below.
Jason says we need to take some acid and go.
To Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, that could be fun, actually. I'm an old hippie. But anyway, now, this was one of my favorite cars right here. And it was funny because it was like 8 minutes after David bought his Deadpool head that we come around the corner and we see the Deadpool car. And they got this same exact head up on the hood.
And now, do you have anything else to add to that, Deadpool? Anyways, wanted to give y'all one more little bit of Deadpool's head here, which the reason I pulled it out, if you see in this image to the right, we actually have Deadpool's head up on the Challenger.
And we haven't had a chance to play around with this. I really wanted to play around with it before David had to head back. But what was really funny is David started buying this stuff, and then after the fact, he figured out, oh shit, how am I going to get this stuff home? And he had this big life-size head. But it seems to be a voice activated at some points. It says over 600 pre-programmed things, but you can do an app and do your own. And we've kind of figured out that the previous owner did do some of their own, because it keeps saying the same name. But
and Jason, you got a point. The pictures are small. I wish we could individually go through the pictures. That way we could have a full screen. But man, we've got over 100. So I was trying to pull relevant things together. Guys, if y'all want to see something more about all the pictures in an area that you can kind of blow them up and stuff, drop us a comment, let us know, and I'll talk with Matthew and see if there's a way of us trying to get something maybe on Geek Insider.
Yeah, that's in the plans. That's one. I've got the photos. It's just, and it's on my to-do list. I've got a lot of stuff that I got to do tomorrow, but hopefully by midweek, I'm going to have an article up with all of these same photos, and it'll be individual photos, and so you'll be able to see them a lot better. But the one thing I want to point out here real quick, and David and I were just talking about this, folks, when you go to these shows, a lot of the times you're going to walk up to a booth and you're going to see items that are marked to sell for the exact same price you can get it anywhere else, on Amazon or from a direct seller of the statues or what have you. Don't be afraid to try to bargain. We didn't load up a clip, but I'll talk about some comics here in a minute, or trade paperbacks here in a minute. But always see if they'll take a little less. You don't want to rip them off. You don't want them to lose money. Remember, these folks pay for the booths, they pay for their hotels, they pay for all their food, they pay for their travel there. I know people that go to conventions and sleep in their cars because they can't afford it. Especially some of the young artists and stuff. And so just keep that in mind. Don't try to get them to go down too far, but you can negotiate. This head that David has retails for $100, and that's right at what that vendor was asking. David told him what he could offer for it, and he ended up getting a pretty significant discount off of it.
And it was good.
And we weren't there 10 minutes.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask you before we move on to the next slide, I gotta say, my favorite part about this car, although pretty much it's everything, is I love that picture down in the right side corner with Deadpool versus Deathstroke. As many of y'all know, if you've catched it before, I've got a tattoo on my arm of Deathstroke inside the Batman logo. So obviously this Deadpool, which I'm a huge fan of, you can see I just bought his severed head, and he's versus Deathstroke. I know it may be hard to see because they're small, but I was going to ask you, what was your favorite part about this car?
Man, just the color coordination of it, the way that they laid it out, the props that they used, and it actually, I was kind of on the fence on what we have talked about tattoos. I was getting a tattoo that weekend, and I didn't know if I was going to get Captain America's shield or Deadpool. I have been wanting a Deadpool tattoo for a while, and I ended up getting, well, you can't see it on here. Let me pull it up on the big screen real quick. Right there. It's still healing, but I mean, as you can see, I got, Black Panther. I've got the Robin, Nightwing rip, Batman, Superman, Punisher, Iron Fist. I got a Hulk shooting. No, wait, that's the other arm. But anyway, and then David, and I got jealous. David got the Nightwing Robin rip, and his looks better than mine. And we got it at the same place. Speaking of, real quick, if you do go to Bell County Comic Con, or you are in Killeen or Belton or Copper's Cove, any of those areas, if you go over to Sick Made Tattoos, it's right there by Fort Hood. I think it's on Fort Hood Drive or whatever. Husky's going to get you taken care of. Husky and his wife, they make sure that they have some of the best artists on hand. This was my 4th or 5th tattoo from that shop, and I drive a while.
Thank you, Jason. I think so too.
Yeah, but he's saying mine do, so he can suck a fat one. But, all right, let's get the slides back up. We were at Deadpool.
Now, so obviously we've got Deadpool. You can see in the background, or here in a second, you can see in the background that we have a little bit of the different vehicles. So we're going to go ahead and move on since we've kind of talked about, they got Pops, the head, artwork, and everything. Next, these are some that I don't believe Matthew knows either one of them. These are the anime cars that were in this area. I don't know if you could tell, but, they've got tarps over the sand material and stuff. This is where we were talking about that they opened the building up to where there was like a livestock, and they had some of the show going on. And behind that black tarp over there was a petting zoo. Thank you, Carl, for joining in. Yep. Stay safe. Now, the top one is Naruto. This is one of, I would say, the most common animes that people can understand and have seen it. It's got the Nine-Tails Fox on it. Some of the different Narutos, like Shippuden, one of the older Narutos in the back by the trunk. Now, before I move on to the next one, Matthew, have you ever seen or heard of Naruto?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I have caught clips of it. Back when it started out, my boys, they're in their 20s now. They were into it. I've never watched a complete episode. And, it's kind of weird. We're going to touch on Speed Racer here in a minute. But Speed Racer was was really my first toe tip into the pond on anime, on Japanese animation. Because just the different ways they do things. But I loved Speed Racer. I have watched a couple of movies that are done in that style, but I haven't watched any of the series. And a lot of people have told me, dude, you are a mega geek. You need to watch these things. You're going to like them. But I haven't. So I couldn't name a character on there by sight. I couldn't tell you what the whole shit and shooting match is about. But I know that it's popular. I know a lot of people like it, and it's got some kick-ass graphics and artwork.
Yeah, and it's a long-running series. They're even now on to Baruto, which is his son. There's a lot of, I think, what people refer to it as filler. And so, it's definitely a really long binge. Now, the card to the right, uh, if anybody knows anything about it, drop us a comment, school us. I didn't even know what this was, and I try to stay somewhat knowledgeable about things that are out there. And my girlfriend notified me that it was Tokyo Ghoul. Yep, this is my mom, Amanda. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, even my dad would join in watching Naruto with us, not the Tokyo Ghoul. But I really don't know anything about it, but I wasn't going to not take a picture. I got to put it up and show y'all. So people who do know of this, let us know.
Yep, and I'm going to throw that in the article as well. David, make sure you leave me a note on these as we're laying them out, because I'm interested to know. We've got on geekinsider.com, we've got a very large anime crowd. They love this stuff. And of course, like you said, they're a hell of a lot more knowledgeable than we are on some of these. You know more than I do. I know jack shit on most of these. I knew some of the old Pokemon stuff, but that ain't anime. I'm not up all on the good stuff.
Hi, Brenda. Thanks for joining in. Everybody has been saying that they're glad you're feeling better.
And get this, I went in a while ago, and we're on the big screen TV in the living room because she wanted to watch instead of being on her phone. So I just hooked it up. So we're on surround sound and on TV. I told her next time Mom comes over, I'm going to do that just to make her think I got a television show.
That's awesome.
All right, well, we got now this.
This is in the same area. This area is back where there's the sand, where there's the livestock. You got the tarps going on. And guys, we had a lot of pictures and a lot of stuff to go through getting this ready. My apologies for this not being, the biggest bang for your buck, kind of show and stuff. But I wanted to jam in as much as we possibly could to provide y'all for. So these I put together in a slide. Obviously, unless you're colorblind, they're purple cars. And so we've got to the bottom one, we've got Raven. Now, Raven is from Teen Titans, and this is a DC character who's extremely powerful. And I loved this character in the original Teen Titans. And guys, I'm going to put it out there. Let us know, which Teen Titans series do you prefer? You have the live action one that's Titans. You have Teen Titans Go, which is like a children's animation. Then you have more of the Japanese animation Teen Titans. The Japanese animation Teen Titans is by far my favorite, and really stressed what I liked about Raven, which, she's from Azeroth, as well as, I can't remember where her mom, and she struggles. Her dad's Trigon, which is basically kind of like what you would think like Devil is, and he's extremely powerful. And she's part of a team, Robin, Beast Boy, Starfire, Raven. They're with a huge team, and it kind of grows, depending on like what you're watching and everything. And they really changed the characters up, man. I don't know if you've gotten to see both, but in the original one I liked, she was kind of brooding, but she still cared, and it was just kind of that, like, it gave a dynamic to the show that made it more desirable. But this Teen Titans Go, from what I've seen, it's everyone just goofing off, doing really stupid things, and she's not really dark and broody, and there's no dynamic. I feel like all of the characters are the same.
I was just going to say, I couldn't agree more. I do not like Teen Titans Go. Teen Titans, I thought that they were doing a real good job on the characters and building them up. They were treating each character with not kid gloves, but they were treating them right. And I get it. I mean, you and I have talked about this before. I can handle this Elseworlds type stuff where it's, this may not be in the universe that you're used to, but here's a storyline of a kind of a what if, like Marvel's What Ifs. And we're going to actually talk about that here in a minute with some stuff that I had found at the convention. But I'm not a big fan of that particular version of Raven. But let me ask you, out of the Teen Titans, who is your favorite?
Robin. Because
Robin?
Robin is Dick Grayson, who then develops and becomes Nightwing, and he has a very strong, impeccable leadership skill. Who he falters, but then he gets the team back together. It's that one part of Batman that you always wish you could see. Like, obviously, you don't want to see it because you need to keep Batman the same, but also like the inner part of you is almost like, come on, Batman, why can't you be a little bit more of a team? Like, encourage, like,
right.
Because he's abrupt. Like, you have a role, what your role is. I expect you to do the role, and obviously he cares. Like in Justice, like it's the first time that you truly believe that something's hit. Like, you see him after Nightwing's death is just awful. But in that, Dick Grayson is the best, like, leader, family loving, hardcore badass. It's just really cool to see Batman, but in like a playful side, and I love that. And I guess that's my biggest complaint because of how much I love him. I mean, obviously, I got a tattoo, but that was my biggest thing about the Teen Titans Go was he's just childish. He's not. They make fun of him. They push him over and everything, and I'm just like, I guess that was my thing. But we already have our first disagreement. As I put up in the comments below, your wife here is actually a favorite of the Teen Titans Go. So let's see. We've got 2 for Teen Titans, the Japanese animation, 1 for Teen Titans Go. Let's keep this going, guys.
Yep. Tell us if you've watched them. Let us know. But the one that we haven't talked about is the car that I wanted to hotwire and drive out. I wish I could zoom this up to make it a little bit bigger. It's the Joker car that's up on top. I have a badass Joker tattoo, and Joker and it's the Mark Hamill Joker. But I love Joker. As you can see, they're both purple cars, which, purple and green, that goes great as far as Joker. They have the lights underneath, as you can see. This was a really cool car. And actually, you're going to see some more cars here in a second that were up closer to the front of the convention. The thing is that they are mainstays. They're ones that are there every year. And so I guess they get the cream of the crop on the spots. And most of them are pretty cool. And David, I just thought of something. There was no fucking Batmobile this year.
No, there wasn't. And if you look up the Bell County Comic Con, it's one of the staples that they put on there.
Right.
But that just goes to show, guys, that they are amping this up. They're bringing everything. They're not wanting to be stale with the same old, same old. Although there was one there, which I actually don't know what happened to the footage of. I could have swore I took pictures and everything. Was the Bumblebee one.
Yeah. Oh,
I know, but
yeah,
that's been there every year.
And what it is, guys, is it's this cosplayer. He has the yellow Mustang, or what
Camaro.
is it, Camaro, sitting there. But then he is up in this damn suit. Son of a bitch, man. We took several videos of him.
He was dancing with kids and everything.
Yeah, he gets up there. And it looks like, he's not as big as Bumblebee, but this is a guy in a suit.
12 foot?
Yeah, I'd put him close to 12. But it was really badass. And he is a staple. He is someone that's there every year. He charges for photographs, but he's really cool on the photographs. We sat there and watched, 3, 4, 5 people come up and pay to get photographs. And he was great with him. He's doing different poses. He didn't do the same pose every time. I'm gonna have to comb through. Maybe that was on my phone or something.
Man. But without me distracting you, about the Joker mobile, man.
The thing is, you can't really see it here, but it's three of the different Jokers. You've got Heath Ledger, you've got, and actually I can't see, so I can't tell you for sure who all three are.
Hey Daniel, I had to fly in from Tennessee, and such as like the head, and I also got statues. They're too big and they weigh too much to go in my luggage, so I had to mail them back home. But thank you for dropping that comment. We really love to see everyone's interactions in this. But yeah, you've got Heath Ledger, Jared Leto. You've got the old, like, real white face. What was his name? It's killing me.
Are you talking about the original?
Yeah, that original Joker. And I'm trying to think of the actor's name.
Oh my God! Now you just made me draw a blank. Cesar Romero.
Yeah, and so yeah, there was a lot, and it was really cool. It has Mr. J. You've got the pops, the artwork that's in here. Of course, the Killing Joke down here by the lower right wheel, which we love so much we had to put it in the intro. He's got it on his laptop as a cover.
Yep, exactly. I should show a picture of my laptop sometime. And folks, in case you are new to the show or you just haven't caught it before, David and I are huge Batman fans. The Batman family, the whole line. That's what makes us DC first. We love a shit ton of Marvel stuff, but Batman is number one for us. And so that's why we really, you'll hear us spend a lot of the time, like, we just spent 10 minutes here on Raven and Joker on two cards. But that's why. We'll show you some more tattoos here in a minute where we've just got a lot of Batman related stuff. But go on to the next slide. What do you got next?
Now, next we've got the classic Pizza Planet, which I really hope most of y'all know this. If you're a geek, it doesn't mean you have to be into graphics and all that kind of stuff. You can also enjoy the little things such as Pixar, Disney, all that kind of stuff. And this is a vehicle that has actually been an Easter egg in every single Pixar film. And it originated in the Toy Story one, but you can even see it, like, one right off the bat I can think of, Monsters, Inc. When they port over to the trailer home, then there's the Pizza Planet truck outside of the trailer home. But yeah, guys, if you ever want a challenge for a movie night or something, pick a Mixar and try to find that Pizza Planet truck.
Or make a drinking game out of it. You got to drink every time you see the Pizza Planet. Or take a bong rip, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And now, what is the one in the upper right? I mean, of course, I know what the lower right is. What was the Jeep in the upper right? Do you remember?
They're both Jurassic Park. They're just from the different movies.
Gotcha. I don't recall which one the red and white Jeep is from. But, of course, the bottom right one, that's the original. I would think that having it smushed in where it would look like the T-Rex had been smacked going after the kids or something. But who wants to do that to their car? But no, this is kind of like one of the ones, or is like one of the ones that were on the tracks in the original Jurassic Park, and they go around. And then, of course, they all die. The vehicles die. And but yeah, it's an iconic thing. You see that going down the road, you're going to know exactly where it's from.
Yeah, of course.
And they have these spread out throughout the convention. It's not like you just go down a row and there's all these cars. You'll go down a row and there's several. We're going to show some more here in just a minute. Some cool ones are coming up. Cool vintage kind of ones. But they are spread throughout. You'll go into another area and all of a sudden there's some more cool cars. But these were some of the ones that we just both kind of got tickled at because it's stuff you don't expect to see. You expect to see some high end supercars, like the DeLorean or whatever, and then you come across Rocket Pizza.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of which, that brings us to here, which Matthew just mentioned on the DeLorean. I'm sure, I would hope every single one of y'all that are watching can know where this DeLorean is from.
Okay, but I have to ask, does your girlfriend know where the DeLorean came from?
I don't know. Let me ask. Do you know where the DeLorean came from? No. But we've been educating her.
Yeah, we have.
Fair point, though.
And that is one the trilogy, you're going to have to school her on. I give him a hard time, or in a jovial way, a joking way, we give his girlfriend a hard time because she is a gaming geek, but not a comic book superhero kind of thing geek, and sci-fi geek. And so we've been turning her on to some stuff, and we've actually got some shows planned in the coming weeks for various things like that, showing people geeky things that they might not have known about, especially when it comes to movies.
I didn't know Jason worked on a DeLorean.
I did not either. Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, he told me.
That's cool, man.
Well, and then if you remember, after we go to the convention and we're down at the tattoo shop, the guy who did my Black Panther tattoo, he knew the guy who owns the DeLorean. And he was like, yeah, last year he took his DeLorean. And I was like, he's there this year. We've got pictures of it.
Yeah, but we didn't even say, if y'all didn't know, we're not going to just pull your check on this one. It's from Back to the Future. This is a time-traveling car, the DeLorean.
Yeah, and he has it decked out. I think it's a little more decked out than the original because if you look, it doesn't have the tube on the back for them to recycle. So this is supposed to be from the first movie, Back to the Future, and it's got a little bit more lights and stuff on it than what the original did. I would have liked to have the funds, the disposable funds, to get in these things and check them out because they got extra features and stuff like the real cars did. But it's like $10 a pop, and David and I like to save our money in case we see a deal on something that we want to get. But the DeLorean was really cool. Now, David knows the Mach 5. That's the one in the upper right-hand corner. It's got the 5 on it. They had a movie a few years ago, Speed Racer, but I actually grew up with an animation cartoon that was Speed Racer, but it was the first one where they had that Japanese style, the wide eyes, the style of it. And I loved it, man. That was one of my favorite shows. He has this mysterious brother that disappeared a long time ago, and he became Racer X. And he shows up at a lot of the races Speedy does, but he ends up saving Speedy. And the thing is this car has a shit ton of gadgets. You can't see it in this picture, but there is a buzzsaw hanging out the front of it to cut your tires off if he decides you're in front of him for too long. And then there is ejector stuff. He's got things where he can send out robotic pigeons to go send messages. There's just a really lot of cool stuff that's in the Mach 5. And just sidetrack real quick, up in Fort Worth, when I lived up there, we had a DJ, very, very popular DJ, very, very geeky DJ. And he wasn't even a DJ, he was a talk show host. He had so much money. He had the Mark V. He also had a Batmobile, a fully looked like the Batmobile. And I used to joke, me and my brother did, I used to say, man, we could dress up like Batman and Robin, pull up in front of Walmart, jump out, run in, and just be going no 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 no, and run back, grab a gallon of milk, run back up to the front, check out, and just run out no 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 no, and just to mess with people. Yeah, just. And which, when we get to Mario, we could have the sound effects of it instead of just doing no 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 no.
Right.
But yeah,
Speaking,
and then go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the Shield truck, guys. I really want to find the list of stuff. This is a little puzzle truck. It's been there, I think, every year that we've been, and it has all these different things added to it that are supposed to be from the television show The Shield, as well as different
Agents of Shield, not the Shield.
Yeah,
The Shield's different.
Agent Shield. Yeah, the Shield is Vic Mackey. But Agents of Shield, and then other Marvel or MCU movies, and then they have a list of things that you're supposed to find. I wasn't in the mood to try to do it at the time. I wasn't in the mood last year either for some reason, so I have yet to try it. But I do want to look online and check it out because it is cool. It's cool looking. David and I were talking earlier, and what did we decide? We saw this Jeep initially in the first Avengers.
Where Loki comes in the underground and he takes control over Hawkeye and stuff, and they're exiting the facility. They're racing out in these Avengers military trucks. They added that shield is new. It's definitely really cool. I always really like to see it here. The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a phenomenal series. I would definitely recommend watching it. It gets a little bit off the walls, but if anybody here is a fan of Marvel and watched the Avengers and everything, in the first Avengers, there's a really popular character who dies. Matthew, do you remember the name of that really popular character? He dies by the hand of Loki, and it's on the helicarrier.
Oh, well, yeah, Coulson.
Yeah, he is the star of this show. You may ask,
right?
But how? He died. Well, go check it out. It's on definitely many platforms. I know it was on Netflix, but you got to be able to find it somewhere. It is long, and it kind of, it gets shaky or so, but I think it's worth, especially if you already have the streaming services, just to binge watch all of it, because it gets into way more than just the basic superhuman. So you get to see a lot more of the elements, the scientific, the agent part of it, just all that kind of stuff. And they don't make the scientific stuff boring. Trust me, it's real attention grabber stuff.
Yeah, and that's the thing with the Shield, the Shield, Agents of Shield. I watched the first season and a couple of episodes of the second, and it wasn't that it bored me or anything. Life pulled me away, and then I didn't even watch anymore. I heard like 1 or 2 seasons kind of went downhill, and then it picked back up. But it is one that I want to circle back around and watch because I was enjoying it, and I love the MCU. And speaking of the MCU, folks, we did a show a while back on the upcoming MCU movies and shows, and we did one on DC movies and shows. Well, David and I have come across some really kick-ass movies that fall outside of those 2 universes, and I don't know if it's going to be next week. We've got a couple of things. We've got some guests coming up, some gaming guests, CEOs. You're going to see a little different format over the next couple of weeks. Remember, we are learning as we go, but I don't remember where I was going with that train of thought, David, so I'll let you take over with Mario.
This one was really cool. This was actually, Matthew mentioned a little bit at the beginning. I had to go run and deal with something, and Matthew was wheeling down, and I caught him trying to hijack this Mario's go-kart. He wanted something better. And
better than the wheelchair.
And Matthew, tell us a little bit, you got to actually experience. I got the pleasure of taking a picture, but I heard he did some special things for you.
Yeah, he's just sitting there when I come up, and they had been open a couple of hours by the time I make it to him. And he's sitting there. He's got the big Mario mustache on. As you can see, he's dressed up like him. And at first, he just sits there. And I'm thinking he's just doing a prop thing. And then he reaches down and hits a button. And he has the music from Mario Kart. He has, it's me, Mario. The music when somebody spins out. I don't know what kind of sound box he has on there. I didn't go up and look. I wish I'd have taken some video of it. He was a really, really nice guy. And, you know, he wasn't asking for donations. He wasn't asking for money to take a picture with him. There's no telling how much money he put into this thing, because this was an actual, you could jump in the game and go on Rainbow Road with this thing.
Now, did you notice down by his left foot or right side of the screen, he has this banana peel?
I just noticed it right as you started talking.
It's really cool. But not only Mario, we've got some more. I did that as a big picture. That was definitely really cool to a classic. Like we mentioned before, we're getting into the collector's booths. Now, this is one where I found the Deadpool head. So imagine coming in, walking into the convention, you see all this kind of stuff, and you just came in, right? So it's kind of like, you know, what am I going to sift through? What am I going to do a walkthrough first? And I was like, okay, well, you know, we started rolling, and I'm just like browsing. That's basically it.
Bless you, my child.
Thank you. Excuse me. Anyways, and then about 3/4 of the way through, I see this red dot on this box. It's just this big red circle. I was like, Deadpool? I was like, oh, is this just like a head that you hang up? And me and Matthew have talked about like hanging masks and stuff.
Yeah.
It was always a cool idea. And I was like, oh, well, I wonder how much. It's like, dang, 100? And we were about to walk away from there. We turned and he goes, oh, do you want to hear? He says things. We're like, well, yeah. So he comes, he gets them out of the box, and he turns them on. And, you know, he starts giving me these one-liners, just this amazing spot-on Deadpool thing. And I'm going to do it one more time for you guys, and you can watch some of the things. It's not just moving the head and stuff. He'll move his mouth and the eyes.
Hey, I feel a little lightheaded. Oh, no, it's the body. Definitely the missing body.
So it's really cool. And like Matthew said, he was wanting $100 for it. You can find it all day long online for $100. I was like, oh, yeah, I actually don't have that much. And he's like, okay, well, you know, what do you have? You know, I was like, and it was really funny. He was heckling me because I was like, well, you know, I'm going to see with the girlfriend, make sure that, you know, because we're on vacation, we need money for gas and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, I'm trying to look to see, you know, what we've got and everything. And he's like, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. And, you know, my wonderful girlfriend, actually, she got this as a gift for me. She covered the whole purchase on it. And he took it. I got to take it home for $70. Which, guys, I mean, I know a lot of you are big discount enthusiasts, and you're like, wow, I want 50% off and it's open or, you know, whatever. But you got to think, guys, you know, I'm supporting these people who are giving me a wonderful memory as well as they're helping me. And I want to give them a shout out. Thank you for, you know, working with me. Thank you for presenting so many awesome things to so many different people. I can't thank you enough, as well as all the other booths, people who spent money to come out. Yes, sell, but also give us an unforgivable experience.
And I just do want to say something to vendors or potential vendors. When you're going out to cons, have business cards. Have business cards with your website address. I have a stack of business cards in there from places that we enjoyed and we like talking to. And then we get home and we look at them and all they have is an Instagram handle or email, Twitter. You know, especially like, I mean, you can see on this one, they got a lot of products and they had some really good collectible stuff and at decent prices. And they were willing to make deals. But the card they gave us has no website address, so I can't call them out. I do know they're in the Dallas Fort Worth area, um, but the going back to a point I made earlier, these cons, guys, are the best time to try to make a deal, especially if you're there early and even late, one end or the other. You go in late, they're wanting to get rid of stuff because they don't want to cart it back to the house or to the warehouse or whatever. And sometimes you can get better deals, but don't be afraid to try to haggle. I picked up a couple of Batman books. I only got like $5 off of it, but that was $5. Just be prepared to make an offer. If you see something that says $50, ask them if they'll take 40. A lot of the times they will. That's what these conventions are for. They're trying to unload stuff that is collectible. We'll show you something here in a minute that David and I would have loved to have grabbed, but it was just a little too expensive, and we knew we couldn't get them to come down on the price as much as we would be willing to spend.
Right.
But
there's a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, I remember we haggled with the guy. I got a Thor and Drax and Groot statue for $100 altogether at the very first one that we went to. And there went my addiction with statues after that.
Right. And I got that Batman spanking Harley Quinn. I got that for like $40. It retailed for $90. You got to pick and choose your vendors. You got to talk to them, see what they're offering. If they got a lot of stuff out, they're wanting to get rid of quantity. And these are, you don't have to get a whole weekend pass. Go on Saturday or just go on Sunday to these conventions. And I will tell you, real quick before we go on to the next one, there are plenty of folks out there selling comic books. The thing is a lot of them are out of order, but you can get really, really, really good deals on. They'll have runs. We saw packs of 15 comics that give you the whole run. And then there's the boxes that you can go through and spend an hour looking through to get the individual comics that you need or the runs that you want. But you have a lot of opportunities to find collectible statues. If you like pop, the Funko Pop stuff,
big opportunity.
Yeah, I would be surprised that if you couldn't find a specific pop that you're looking for, especially if you go on there on Saturday and you're not able to find it. You go up to one of those vendors and you say, "Hey, I'm looking for this one." They'll have it overnighted to them, or some of them are local. They'll go to their shop and pick it up and have it for you the next day. But there are so many opportunities for collectibles, shirts. You can get deals on kick-ass shirts. Good God, I mean, really, almost anything geeky you can think of is going to be available there.
Speaking of vendors, our next one here is one that I want to point out is not just comic related. It's something, once again, we're getting to the family aspect of it. They are called the Nerd Den. They had a huge section at the Comic-Con, and they had shirts, they had cups, they had cutting boards, mugs, they had dog bandanas, they had just everything. And you could definitely find something amongst all that stuff that you want. As you can see, they've got Instagram, they've got Facebook, they've got TikTok, they've got a bunch of stuff that's out there. Now, the lady that you see in the middle picture, she creates all the mugs herself, I was told. The gentleman was helping out, very friendly and helpful. In fact, we got a Deadpool cutting board and a cat mug for my girlfriend, and they gave us a bundled discount. They were really friendly and nice. They were willing to work with us. And the really cool part is a portion of the proceeds goes to the left, the Kirito Project, which is their dog that had passed away. And basically, I wish that I could blow it up more and kind of tell y'all. You could see that there's a cutting board there that says life is better with dogs. There's a Batman bandana for the dogs down below. And the proceeds, they help with gas and funding for people who need to get help for their animals, surgeries, stuff like that, who just can't. And rather than them being put down, they help with the cost of saving those animals. I really like this because it had not only these monster mugs, different types of mugs, comic mugs, cutting boards, shirts, and all that kind of stuff, but it would also had a really hometown feel, somebody who's doing a really good thing, proceeds go to it. So I really wanted to give them a shout out, guys. Please go on to Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, any of those. Check them out. They definitely deserve the love. Once again, I'd like to say thank you for working with us. Thank you for telling me the story. And I hope this inspires more people to be like you out there. Matthew did run, but I will go ahead. I know that all of our fans out there have already been listening for an hour, and thank you for staying tuned. I will go ahead. Matthew just joined us back. I just gave him the rundown on the Nerd Den. I thank them so much.
Listening.
Okay, good. Was there anything else you wanted to say before?
Yeah, are we cutting it off now? We're going to continue on and run through this, right?
Yeah, I was just telling them that I was thanking them for joining in. I know it's past an hour, but we're going to give y'all everything. We got a lot to cover, guys. It was a really great weekend.
And the only other thing that I wanted to point out on this one is that it's called the Nerd Den. They have the nerdden.com, but they had one of the coolest websites names that I have seen. I haven't gone and checked it out, but they have talknerdytome.com. And that one just stuck with me, being Geek Insider and Talk Nerdy to me. I'm thinking I'm going to have to reach out to these folks to see about some sort of collaboration because those two names just fit together too well. But folks, I have 10 dogs. I live in the country. Several of them I'm babysitting. They're not all my dogs. But dogs are a very, very special part of my life. They're a part of David's life. David has 3 of them, including one of the cutest corgis you've ever seen. And is she around?
No, but I do have another one. Come here, Lisa. Continue talking. Come here.
But we love dogs, and anytime somebody is putting parts of their proceeds, I really don't care if it is towards, animal health. Lisa. I don't care if it's towards animal health, if it's towards renewable energy or being green. Those kind of projects, they really strike a chord with me. And I really and truly believe that sometime in the near future, you'll see some kind of collaboration between us and the Nerd Den or Talk Nerdy to me. But yeah, these guys were great. When we went up, just the first day when we talked to them, I'd asked about a price on something, and when I was like, "Oh, I'll think about it," they came up and they dropped the price. And they did the same for David the next day. And again, that goes back to that. Don't be afraid to try to negotiate. Yes, they are going to have the book price on it right then. When you walk in, they're going to have the quote unquote Kelly Blue Book price. It's the diamond or whatever pricing it is. But they bought those wholesale. They do get a bit of a discount. Now, don't go in there if they're asking something for $50. Don't go offer them 10. That's just an insult. But
now, she did hand make every single one of those.
Yeah, and
now the actual cups and stuff, maybe she got the cups, but then she did her own work on them, and it was a big kudos. And to a point that you were saying, I did let them know that we were going to be on here for them to check us out. If you're watching this, please feel free to hit us up. We'd love to do an interview with you. That way you could have your own section to kind of talk about everything. We really want to support what you're doing for pets.
Yeah, and I'm already planning on, if they don't reach out to us, I'm going to reach out to them at least for a 15, 30-minute interview. But the way we talk, we'll turn it into an hour show. But yeah, I really want to get together with them because I'm always about anything to do with animals. What's our next slide? What do
Now,
we got?
this one I'm really excited to talk about. So, guys, if you are a fan of the show and you have watched The Last Ronin, my apologies for the glare. It was really crowded, and I wanted to make sure to get this picture for you guys. So, got it up close, snapped a picture of it, and I love it because like 4 people was like, "It's a really good comic," and both of us are like, "We know."
Right.
We've done 2 shows on this over all 5 chapters. It is amazing, but unfortunately the price is blocked out. But I think if I remember right, they were selling it for $155. And we
Right.
told you guys you needed to jump on it while you got the chance because the price is not getting any better.
Well, this was a number 1 and an alternate cover, and which this is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. Which, like David said, we covered because they did the trade paperback here recently, or the hard, not paperback. We got the hardback that it collected all the editions, and I truly do want a first edition of them all just for my own collection. But they printed so few of the first issue that, as you can see, less than 2 years later, it's $135, $155. And if it had been about half that price, I would have probably snagged it. And also backing up, if David hadn't have bought that Deadpool head, I was going to buy it. The only reason he got it is because he saw it first and he started trying to negotiate first. When the guy gave him the price, if his girlfriend had said no, Matthew would have that head right now because I was going to get it.
Now
But
there's
yeah,
right next to it, I hope you guys would recognize, especially if you spent the time listening to The Last Ronin, this is Shredder. And guys, I gotta tell y'all, not that there wasn't a lot of work put into the costume, but these little things are just still really cool to see. It's not super fancy fabric fitted to his clothes and all this other kind of stuff. You know who it is. It's really cool to see. And I definitely wanted to snag that picture to be able to show y'all. Unfortunately, I did not get in a picture with Bebop and Rocksteady that was at the show. Although I
they
wish
were back.
we could have. Different Bebop and Rocksteady, or different cosplayers going as them.
Right.
But it's just like we said, it was really busy, and we got what we could, which is still a lot. We're over an hour, guys, and we're only halfway through. Are we a little bit over half?
Yeah, a little over half. And the reason that I brought that up about Bebop and Rocksteady is because the first year we actually went to a pizza party with the Ninja Turtles, and that's all that was advertised was pizza party with the Ninja Turtles. And I don't even know how. I think it was like $10 or whatever, and we got a couple of slices of pizza and a soda. And the Ninja Turtles came out. Well, then Bebop and Rocksteady and some mutant chick I didn't know came out, and the actors were just really cool. They played their part. We took some photos. We should have loaded those up too, but just as a recap from over the years. But hell, I'd have had to dug deep to find those. But it was just kind of cool because of the whole Last Ronin thing. And if you don't know what the Last Ronin is, guys, go into the Geek Insider channel. We got, as David said, we covered this in 2 episodes because there's so much to cover. It is one of the best comics that I've read ever, but especially in a long time. Just the artwork is great. The storyline is great. You get your heartstrings tugged from the characters that you know from the past. It's just a really good comic. So make sure that you check out the Geek Insider channel and check out those 2 episodes.
Definitely, we had a lot to share on that. Leading with that, there is this Japanese statue that you have here of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's. Did you notice that one was branded Nickelodeon? But look at that turtle.
Right.
Look how crazy.
And
but that wasn't even part of the picture. But go ahead, Matthew.
I was just going to say, we saw quite a few different versions of Ninja Turtles. And there were some really badass ones. Unfortunately, I don't have the storage room or the office space to get my collection going. I've got a collection of stuff in my storage because there's a lot of things that I would have snagged up in a heartbeat if I had the places to display them. David heard me say several times, man, I like that, but I just don't have the place to put it. And there
I was trying to convince him, like the crow and stuff. So you get Lobo's, like, you can find a place up there, or like, what if you squeezed it here? Exactly. I'm just trying to fill his house up.
But there was a lot of really kind of alternate versions of the Ninja Turtles and a whole bunch of other stuff. You had alternate versions of Harley Quinn, Batman. I mean, and we're not talking just statues and collectibles. There's comic books. I think we didn't get the video loaded, but this would be a good little spot. I picked up 2 trade paperbacks that I had not heard of. One is, if I can get it up here, it's Batman White Knight. And then the other one is, what is it? Curse of the White Knight. And
I've got it pulled up if you want me to show it.
There we go. This is just a quick little video when I was picking them out. Doesn't sound like the audio's working.
No audio?
But anyway, that's when I picked them up. And what the whole storyline is that Joker regains his sanity. And he ends up declaring that Batman is the biggest menace to Gotham. I haven't got to start reading them yet. I do have the first one set on my nightstand so that I can read it here in the next few days. But case in point, I looked these over. They were about $47 total, and I got them to give it to me for $40. So $7 off, $9 off. But that's the thing is, again, don't be afraid to try to haggle with these people. They will have a price on them, but 9 times out of 10, or maybe 8 times out of 10, they're willing to haggle.
Oh, yeah. And it was really cool. Right here on the picture, I'm sure everybody's wondering, like, well, y'all got this up and it's focused on this thing y'all aren't even talking about. It is Kratos on the throne. People may know that are gaming geeks. This is from the gaming series God of War. Now, God of War was something introduced. It's a PlayStation exclusive, which now PC is getting into the PlayStation exclusives, such as Spider-Man and stuff. And then you had God of War 2, God of War 3. I think there was some other little variants. And then in 2016, I believe it's 16 or 18. I think it's 16. They rebooted it, and they continued the story where God of War, which is Kratos, he has a son, and you're on this story with your son. The mother passed away. You're carrying her ashes, and you're facing a bunch of villains. You have to get your old weapons back. It's amazing. And guys, I literally today just beat it for a second time. And there's always more stuff to grab, more combos to do, and it just changes up the feel of it all the time. Now, we do have somebody who dropped in for a comment. Thank you for keeping it alive, guys. Thank you, Marissa, for joining us. This is my girlfriend. Yeah, that's a good idea, Matthew. You see this?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play around to figure out what she's talking about on the community tab. But
now, to the God of War that I was wanting to mention, God of War Ragnarok, which is the continuation of the 2016 or 2018, I can't remember. My apologies, guys. Video game that came out And I'm definitely going to get it right off the bat, and I'd be really happy to share with y'all my thoughts and everything on that video game. And I imagine it's going to be astounding because it's going to be default for PlayStation 5, which the default for the first God of War in 2016 or so was PlayStation 4. So you've got a lot of difference that they can catch up for here. You got statues of Catwoman up above, the animated Batman. You got a ton of Harley Quinns on the side. You got Chucky. You've got the Hello Kitty Chucky. Some of the, I guessing anime. No, I guess that says Street Fighter. I've never seen that character. So that shows y'all a little bit of the stuff that people have to offer. This Kratos on the throne was $800.
Yeah, and when it's that high, I don't think you're going to be able to get them to come down too much. And don't get us wrong. When I say people are willing to negotiate, there are some that are not willing to negotiate. They think that is high dollar, and that they want every penny of it. And that's what kind of gets me. And I've mentioned this to David before, is that back in the day when I went in the 90s and in the 90s, most of the folks at conventions, they were bringing the stuff that they were willing to make a good deal on. Sorry guys, I'm trying to figure out my lighting here. It's being screwy. But they would bring in the things that they wanted to get rid of, that had been sitting in the store gathering dust. And, they might just take a few dollars over markup. But you get to some of these others and, they want exactly what they would want in the store, or at least that's what they have it marked for. A lot of them will work with you on the price, but then there are some that just will not. And don't let it get to you. There are, for everyone that says no, that they're not going to come down on the price, there's 3 others that will.
Definitely. Thank you, Daniel, for joining back in. I didn't know it was a poster. I was really young when the first ones came out, playing them and stuff. Of course, I played them a lot, maybe against my mother's wishes, but I wanted to go ahead and show that, especially because I was in the middle of already playing it, and I plan on getting the other one and sharing that experience with you guys. But with that being said, that takes us to our Star Wars cosplay and props. Now, there's a little bit more Star Wars later on, just images. But this was a whole section that was next to the cars where you get to see the stormtroopers, the guards. You got Boba Fett and the throne. I can't remember. I think it's the Wonk droid. Matthew, what was your favorite part about walking through and seeing this?
Well, the really cool thing is that they've taken the time to get this backdrop. They have their costumes, they have their props, and they are sitting there or standing there waiting for kids to come by, adults. They are not charging. They don't ask you for any money. And now, if you want to tip them, you can, but they are going out of their way. Yes, they love to do the cosplay. They love Star Wars. They love the interaction with the fans. But the thing is that they're really just doing this for fun. Most of them, I really wish I would have thought of it. And this is something that we'll do next year, is start talking about investment over return. You know what I mean? Because how much did these guys pay to get in here? And then are they at least breaking even? That's a big thing.
But you have to consider, and I think when you can see these wraps and icons, I think some of these people are paid to show up.
And that very well could be true. And that's something that I'd like to talk to Johnny about.
But it's still probably a how much does it to get the equipment there, the stay, the eating, publicity, the labor that goes into standing there all day. And I definitely agree. We call it a lot of like profit and loss. Like, how much are we getting? Basically, how much are we losing?
Now, that can kind of segue into something that I brought up several times while we were in the con. Johnny, if you happen to tune into this, or anybody else that runs a con, or any artist that set up at cons, and I'm not talking comic book artists that have been inking or drawing for years for Marvel or DC or IDW or any of that. What amazes me is that every single con we go to, there's always a couple people set up that are selling their versions of Venom, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Deadpool, and Wolverine that they have mostly done digital art of. How is it that they can sell these trademarked characters at a show? They're making money off of them, but they're not paying anything on the licensing. And it just doesn't compute with me. I mean, could my wife, she's an artist, can she go and get a booth and just have a bunch of paintings of Darth Vader and whatever, and sell them with no repercussions? And the reason that I ask this is because if David and I show a fucking image or a sound clip of Mickey Mouse, we get dinged. We get hit with that we're copyright infringement. And so I just don't understand. And we got a decent audience here. We're not huge, we're not small, but we got a decent audience on the podcast and the radio show or the YouTube show. And so Daniel runs a con. Yeah, that's true. It does have a double entendre there. But yeah, I'm just really wondering how these folks get away with this stuff, man. Um, I'm not trying to begrudge anyone trying to make a living, and some of these folks are hella badass artists. David, you and I have both bought art from these folks.
I almost bought more this time, but I was really worried about, traveling, putting it in my suitcase, it ripping,
Right.
bending. I'm not about that. I'm about framing it and putting it up.
Right. And I got a lot. I mean, I got enough to cover my entire house in artwork. My wife ain't going to let me do that. But I got news for her. I know she's listening in there in the living room. There's fixing to be some stuff removed from the walls in my office in here, and I'm putting up some of my artwork. But anyway, David, you take this one, man, because I have no flipping idea who this is, and you do.
So this one is the character Bloodhound from Apex Legends. This is a very popular video game right now that started growing right after Fortnite, and it's what's called a Battle Royale. You can join in by yourself or with teams. There's different game modes, and you battle to be the last one alive. Now, the thing that's unique about this is you have to go pick up your own guns, you have to scavenge your own ammo, your, armor, all of that stuff. And so, you either get lucky, you get a bunch of stuff, and you're ready for the fight, or maybe you drop and you turn the corner and get your face blown off by somebody who beat you to the shotgun. And there's a lot. I really don't play it a lot. Warzone does it too, Fortnite. Because my thing is if I get unlucky even one time, I mean, maybe at max I can do 2, that I spawn in and die after waiting for the loading and all that kind of stuff, I'm out. I'm done. But if I have somebody to play with, it can be pretty fun. Now, I do want to I really want to praise this guy. He took a Nerf blaster, colored it. It looks like he's gotten some cloths, that the armor vest, a basic, camo one. This, I guess it's the aviator's respirator, or whatever, the breather. And, he took a really cool cosplay. He took some casual stuff and he really made it pop where we'd recognize it. So definitely kudos, guys. Apex Legends is free to play on all platforms. You can download it and play with other people online. Not paid for by Apex Legends. But if you are watching this, sponsor us.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, it's another video game thing, just as much as comics. Video games are really big. Anime is really big. Now, of course, after this one, we start getting into all the cosplay. Now, we're going to go through, I guess I'll take the first one, because if I remember, you actually don't know this one. This one's Jinx. It's a really big character that's out. Even all the artists that had things of Jinx were like, yeah, she's selling out. We don't really have any. Had to get a picture of this cosplay, head to toe, just really nailed it. I'm assuming that's a wig. Otherwise, that's a lot of hair dye and a lot of trouble to go through for this cosplay.
Right.
Really cool. She got her pose and everything. I wish I could say more, but as you can see, actually, this is at the Nerd Den, and there's the lady who makes all of this stuff.
Right.
She was there. And I wish I could tell y'all more about it, but obviously we've got a lot more to share. Matthew, you want to take this next one?
Well, I do just want to, while it's on the top of my brain here, folks, as you can very well expect, these cons are full of people. You've got, people going back and forth, traffic or 2-lane traffic on every aisle. Guys and gals, I am in a wheelchair. I can't walk more than 20 feet without assistance, and I use a cane even on that. I can move around the house, but my point is when I'm out in something like this, I'm in a wheelchair and David's pushing me around. If I'm at the grocery store, I'm in one of those little carts. When you see someone in this situation, take some consideration that when you step in front of them and stop, that it causes them pain. If I'm pushing myself in the wheelchair, I have to go around you. That is another 3 seconds of additional pain that I have to go through, whether it's my neck, my shoulders, my back, my legs. And I'm not trying to be a whiny little bitch here, folks, but it is maddening when you just ignore a person in a wheelchair, step in front of them and stop. And a lot of people are, don't get me wrong, not everybody's rude. Some people do apologize and they move out of the way. But those of you that turn and look at me in disgust, I want to bop you on the head with my solid wooden cane. That's all there is to it.
There's always a time or two that we almost do that. And guys, it doesn't also have to be just you being nice and sorry or any of that kind of stuff, but it helps a lot just being aware of your surroundings, as well as like, I know it's really cool to stop and talk to people, and that's totally fine at a convention, but just be aware of your surroundings, please, because if we're in a wheelchair and we want to wheel through, it would mean a lot if you could step aside so that I could wheel them through while you're talking. Normally, people can walk. They can walk around you if it's wide enough and stuff. But for somebody in a wheelchair, there's only X amount of room, and there's a certain direction we usually have to go. So it would really appreciate if you could be aware of your surroundings, as well as when you get groups or up to booths or anything. Or like, if we're going here or something like that, it's really common that they'll think that that's enough, but then they stop where his foot is in front, and it's like, it's either I have to stop him, which makes him jerk forward and try to go around her. It's something, and I won't dwell too much on it or anything.
Right.
It can be a struggle, and everybody who really tries to pay attention and does that kind of stuff, I just want to say we really appreciate you, and it helps us get around.
It really does, because people, we don't want to be, don't want you to think that we deserve special treatment or anything, and that you should, immediately go to the sides of the road just because there's someone in a wheelchair. No, it's just be respectful. Like he said, be aware of your surroundings. I definitely am not the only one. We met several people in wheelchairs and decked out costumes surrounding their carts and stuff. But it's just, be respectful to your fellow man. Look around you. If it's not me in a wheelchair, it could be a little kid that's running up to see somebody.
And sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, before you whip around to go see that artist that you just love and you just recognize that they're there, or something else caught your eye, take a look over your shoulder like you would before you change lanes in a car. That's all I'm asking.
And on that point, I'm going to go right back to the slide, but I just wanted to show you all when he said kids, it reminded me it's not just people in a wheelchair. There's kids here. You can see this oxygen tank that they have to wheel around. That also involves hoses and stuff. So being aware of your surrounding also prevents you from like possibly pulling a hose out from this person or making them feel neglected because they can't go in the crowd because it's so busy. But I just wanted to show that real quick.
That's a good point, man. That's a real good point. And that's the thing, guys, is that these, and there goes my dogs. These are supposed to be fun for everybody. And yes, they get really, really crowded. There are times where you're going to be disappointed that, the person, the celebrity that you want to see or the talent you want to see is busy or their line is too long. Or they're gone, and nobody will give you an explanation, which is something we ran into. There was an artist that I was desperate to get his autograph, and every time David went by there, and his girlfriend went by there, he wasn't there, and nobody could give him a freaking time of, hey, he'll be back in 30 minutes or an hour. But that is the kind of stuff that Bell County listens to. Guys, I've been to a lot of conventions, and they don't give a shit about what you think. They are going to do things their way. It's worked that way for however long, and they are there to make money and for the talent to make money, and especially if the talent has something to push. But when you are going to Bell County and they're telling you no, or they're telling the press, no, you can't have an interview this year with anybody, basically, because the customer comes first. And that's something you just don't hear, man. And the Bell County guys, Johnny stepping up and going, look, we're going to take care of the customers first. We're allowed X amount more people in this year because we opened up these other arenas. But we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to do what they came here to do, because 9 times out of 10, David, when we go to a con, that we have 1 or 2 things specifically we want to do. This year we wanted Ray Park and what was his name? I don't have that book in here, but I think it's Don Donaldson. We had those 2 specifics. But then we wanted to catch whatever else we could catch. Once we were told that the interviews weren't going to be available, we pivoted. We aren't going to bitch. We were invited here. We got weekend passes. But I just can't tout this enough, guys. Bell County Comic Con in Belton, Texas, every year in August, usually the first weekend in August, maybe the second weekend. Plan your calendars now. I've went 3 times. I've been super happy 2 out of 3 of those times. The only time that it wasn't badass was in the middle of the fucking pandemic. So what can you say?
Right.
But
people really brought their A game, as you see with a lot of these cosplayers. Once again, I'll stop for a moment. I want to tell everybody, if you are joining us, thank you for coming in and checking out everything. Thank you for letting me to take pictures, allowing me to post them up here. I hope to see you at many more Comic-Cons in the future, rocking out any of your other cosplays that we could take a picture of. With that being said, this next one that we've got is really amazing to see. This is Captain America, Captain Falcon, whatever you want to call it. And we had Winter Soldier and the Falcon series that Falcon and the Winter Soldier series that came out. Absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. Easter eggs tying together in the story, obviously movie-like quality, and this guy brought his A game. This suit was just so spot on, and I loved it. He was very friendly. When we wanted to take pictures and stuff, let me step out of the way. Let's get a clear shot. Let me do a pose. There was a lot of pictures that I had to choose from, and just because I couldn't splatter them all over the page, this is the one I chose. I felt like it felt very heroic.
Yeah, and I want to throw something out here. If you come across this podcast or this video and you were at Bell County and you were in cosplay and we didn't catch you, send us a picture. Send us your picture with your website or your Instagram, because we're going to be adding more of this stuff to geekinsider.com. And I really say this, David, because you got to see her. I saw her first. You got to see her, and then we never saw her again to get a picture. There was the most awesome Storm there, Storm from the X-Men. Man, she had the clear milky, or not the clear, but the milky white contacts. She had the old school outfit. She had lightning.
Hair,
Huh?
it was. I was saying the hair, just everything was
Yeah,
just
everything
really.
was spot on. And I saw her when I first walked in while David was taking care of what he needed to take care of, and before we met up at Mario. I saw her, but she walked past me too quick for me to get a picture. And so, if you happen to catch this, ma'am, please get in touch with me and anybody else. Y'all can send it to info@geekinsider.com. I will touch base with you. I don't care if you were at this con or you are a professional cosplayer and you go to other cons. If you are into this and you're going to different cons or you're planning to go to a con, hit me up, info@geekinsider.com, and we will see about getting your images and your info plastered on the website.
Absolutely. It was really amazing to see all these cosplayers, and we have much more to show y'all. I mean, we started with Jinx that we've got there. We've got Captain Falcon, Captain America. We've got next is Nightwing. He's got the Batarang replica, his eye cover, mask, the jacket that's going on, which is really cool. Of course, next to it, you've got Red Hood, which was just
that was one of my favorite ones.
With the middle, his helmet lit up. I had them take a picture together where he's holding the Batarang up to his throat, the gun's pointed at Dick Grayson's dick, and it was just amazing to kind of see these kind of people. Little things go into it, and it just means a lot. I'm really happy that y'all allowed me to take a picture and took time out of y'all's day.
Yeah, definitely. And if you see your picture up here, I may have already said this, but hit me with that email and let me know. We would love to help promote you because, guys, there was a lot going on this weekend. My wife was in the hospital with some major issues. We didn't get all the pictures and content that we wanted. And so if you were there and you don't see your picture here, let us know. If you're there and you see your picture here and you've got a website or an Instagram or anything that you want to promote, let us know. We're going to be a lot more prepared next year where we're going to put Post-it notes on business cards and all of that stuff so that we know who is who and where is where. But here we get into some really cool other cosplay. David fell in love with Hot Cheetos. She was following you around. You went silent, but you took her picture, and then everywhere we went, there she was.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure to show you guys, like, it's not always the extremely recognizable stuff, fancy stuff or anything. You could go for yourself, just little cool things. She's got the fire painted on her face, the shirt, the pants and stuff. And, I really wanted to get this picture, a little funny story time. Being in this relationship, it always comes to a point where, you start to know their family and everything like that. And I remember early on, my girlfriend had got her sister something Hot Cheetos themed. And she's like, if there's anything to know, you'll know my sister loves Hot Cheetos. And the flaming hot, and there was memorabilia everywhere I started to see. I saw this and I knew I had to take a picture for her, as well as anybody else that's out there. Maybe you got a matching set of clothes or jacket that's just Star Wars or something. Yeah, you could wear that to here, man. All the better, man. You don't have to go all out.
And I do want to thank a certain subset. There are some of you women that dress in these short skirts and tights or skimpy outfits with no bra. and there's absolutely no character you correspond with, please keep coming back to these. Y'all really give a nice view, nice atmosphere to the thing. I swear, guys, I mean, these have always been a thing for guys, but there are some girls that come out there and they leave nothing to the imagination. And I'm a dirty old man. And so if y'all want to come out there, what, David, tell me if I'm lying. Did that one lady not have 3/4 of her breasts hanging out?
Yeah, no, when you started talking about this, I was like, I remember you pointed it out. It was off to the side. Just get this armor on with just side boob for days.
And then he goes, I double dog dare you to tell Marissa to take a picture. And Marissa's his girlfriend. And I actually thought about it for a minute, but it was our first time meeting, and I didn't want his girlfriend to think that I was that much of a perv. But David, we are way over on the show. We probably should move forward, man. And look, once again, I was worried about if we'd have enough content to cover an hour, and here we are, almost double.
Yeah, I mean, next there's a soldier here. By far, I got to tell you, most embarrassing thing that happens at the Comic-Con. You know, I'm trying to be real nice, and you know, I'm going up to people. I was like, "Hi, I'm with the media, Geek Insider. We'd really appreciate if we could take a photo, and we'll put it online covering the Comic-Con, and you could check it out at geekinsider.com on YouTube. You know, and I'm trying to push our stuff." And I talked to him, and I recognized, and he looks like this character Smoke from Rainbow Six Siege. Which to the right, there's another character from Rainbow Six Siege. And, you know, I put my hand in. He was talking with somebody for a while, and eventually I was like, okay, well, if I got to push Matthew on, I put my hand up. I go, hey, excuse me. It's going to bother you. Are you happen to be cosplaying Smoke? And he just goes, no. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. And he points to his patch, and I can't remember what it was, the NSP or something.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't recognize it at this time, but it's really cool. I'd like to take a picture and even show it on our show and stuff. And then he proceeds, and he has to get the mouth guard over, and then the top piece over, the side piece, then the clip on the ear thing, and then he's got to put the helmet on, and he's got to put the shades on, and then he's got to put on the respirator thing, and he's just like going on it and everything. And you know, he poses, I get a picture and stuff, but that poor guy was just no. I was like, my bad guy. But he does look like that character.
And that brings up a really good point though, folks. If you go to these conventions, whether you are just an attendee or you're a media, what have you, always ask permission on the cosplayers, the artists, the authors, everybody. Before you start snapping pictures, it's just common courtesy to ask. 99.9% of the cosplayers are going to go, yeah. They might seem a little irritated because they've been asked 40 times in the last 3 steps they took, and they're wanting to get down the aisle. But just take it with a grain of salt. Yes, we got attitude multiple times. We got attitude.
Yeah, there was an artist, and of course, like I gotta get the atmosphere where I'm getting booths and stuff like that. And so, you know, I'm just kind of trying to cover a wide angle and stuff. And this guy looks at me and he goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, you know, I'm with the media. I'm Geek Insider, trying to capture the Comic-Con and spread news about it and stuff." And I think I said something else, or it was generally around those lines. He was right. Okay.
But then, same side or flip side of that same coin, vendors. When folks are coming up and showing interest, especially media, don't be a dick. Don't blow us off. Fucking stand up and tell us about your history. Tell us what you do. How do you do your artwork? Don't just go, oh, and turn around. We got that several times. There's a couple of you that could have gotten your books promoted on Geek Insider, not just on this show, but on geekinsider.com, and then promoted on our social media, which has over 300,000 followers.
And I've got to say on that point, I definitely agree with what you're saying. And for everybody out there that's like, well, you don't know what it's like, and we get rejected so many times, we're saying the same thing over and over again. Kudos. I mean, that is hard. Do understand that. But also, we're just saying that you miss out on opportunities when you assume or, stuff like that. Because we're here. We want to talk about it. We want to show off your stuff. And especially these people who gave us deals, worked with us, was really friendly and stuff. Here we've got their pictures up, like the Nerd Den and stuff that we're pushing out there. And it's not like they paid us. It's not like they were like, oh, well, if I give you a deal, will you? No, they just worked with us. And I'm pretty sure they didn't even notice the media badge or anything like that. And then I'm like, hey, well, I'm with the media. I really appreciate it. And I would like to share your information with our subscribers and everything.
And guys, if you were out at the con and we spoke to you, I mean, it's hard not to remember our ugly faces. And we didn't mention you on the show, or we mentioned you and didn't mention your website. I got a lot of cards, a lot of business cards, but we didn't mark what we got where or what we talked about. And so if you see yourself up on here, especially the vendors, but also you cosplayers, drop us a note at info@geekinsider.com. Let me know what was going on, where we met, and let's talk. There is a really good chance that we could get a decent collaboration going on. I want to build up our cosplay connections and our convention connections, because I know a lot of y'all go to conventions that I probably hadn't even heard of. I mean, like, y'all probably haven't heard of Bell County Comic Con. This is the kind of stuff we want. And if somebody is interested, I can't pay you, but we would give you the author credits if you go out and you take pictures at the con you're going to, and we'll post them on Geek Insider. So
yeah, I'm wondering if we could possibly finish this within the 2-hour mark. We've got
9 minutes.
We've got another Nightwing here now. He's all armored up. You got the red wing mask and stuff, which I really appreciate. It's definitely really good. A lot of thought was put into it. The belt. He was with Valkyrie from Rainbow Six Siege, which is a video game character. You could see, she's rocking the tats, just everything. It is amazing. Unfortunately, she didn't have the cameras, which is the accessory, but I really liked it. But yeah, I mean, I would say, Matthew, out of these 5 pictures, which one do you think is the best before we move on to the next slide that you like?
Oh, man. I got to go with a Nightwing. I have to go with a Nightwing.
Yeah.
He's got the armor, he's got the look. I just got to go with a Nightwing on this one.
Definitely. We got more cosplayers coming up, so of course, us. We had to get those pictures of the Jedi and the Sith. Very cool pose going on. My apologies for possibly not getting a little bit of a better picture. As you see, it was a very busy walkway. They were kind enough to stop and get a picture for me real quick.
I do want to call out, we both commented on it. The second picture from the left in the lower right-hand corner, Negasonic Teenage Warrior Warhead. This gal, she could have played a stunt double for the movie. Don't you think, David?
Oh, yeah, definitely. She was very friendly, was talking to me about, Deadpool 1, 2, and 3 coming up. Really enjoyed it. The suit, she's got the phone that she was on, the earrings. It was definitely a really good cosplay, and enjoyed it. Now, I would like to say the second picture, the one on the right from the Jedis, of this gentleman going as Dr. Eggman. from Sonic that's
man.
in his scooter. Really funny story there, but I'll let Matthew tell it. Battle between the wheelchairs, I guess you'd say.
This guy, wasn't it his birthday too?
Yeah, it was his birthday.
And so he comes around the corner, and I know you can't see it real well. Like he said, it's the second from the left and the top. So it is Dr. Eggman from Sonic. He's got the big bushy mustache, shaved head, and he's just gliding along. And what it was is his scooter. And what was cool as hell is his son, or his dad rather, had built this in a week. And this guy in that eggshell, you could tell that he has been through a lot. He is just loves the whole atmosphere of the cons. And he's driving up, and of course I'm in my wheelchair, and he ratioed me, man, didn't he?
Yeah.
I said I loved his thing, and I asked his dad. I was like, or David did, would you do a commission? Because we were thinking about doing something for the wheelchair. And he's like, no, this is just for him. And then I said, well, we've talked about shaving my head and me going as Professor X. And he immediately goes, yeah, that's the default. And I just started laughing because his was badass.
And not only that, his father previously did the TIE Fighter.
Yes.
For Darth Vader.
Yeah, did a badass TIE Fighter. It was coming off with the wheels. And that's something that I think I'd like to do with a wheelchair, is something like that.
Yeah, and now
go ahead.
It wouldn't be proper for us to be showing off. You know, I got the Deadpool, the cutting board, the Deadpool severed head, your Deadpool tattoo. We gotta show the Deadpool cosplay. Unfortunately, the guy who had his lower body cut off with the legs was not there. However, we did get this awesome Deadpool. And I got pictures of him breaking the, typical Deadpool where he's like, all right, I'm going to, scoot on off the screen. And really funny. Now, I want to ask, I still haven't looked it up. It'd be really easy. The Space Marine in the lower left-hand corner, awesome cosplay, by the way. What is the Space Marine from?
Man, it's from a video game. We decided it's not from Halo, or not Halo.
No, it's not from Gears of War.
Yeah, Gears of War. That's what we decided it's not from. I'm not sure. Folks, if you know what it is, drop it in the comments on YouTube or drop me an email at info@geekinsider.com.
Oh, Warhammer.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't wait. Yeah, let us know, drop us a comment, even if this is after, send us emails and stuff. We're really digging into the cosplays. Now, next we've got Deathstroke. Man, I don't know about you, but it looks like he was dying in that cosplay.
Oh, dude, he was. And now, guys, this is in Texas. I've kept saying Belton and Killeen. I haven't mentioned that it's Texas. And I'm pretty sure, I didn't check the weather that day, but I'd be willing to bet it was about 194 degrees that day. And we get inside this one building. The air conditioner is not working all that well. And of course, I'm exaggerating when I say 194, but it was pretty fucking hot. But we get inside, and this old boy's running around, and you can tell. I would be surprised if he didn't have to go get down and hose down with cold water later, because brother was hot.
Yeah. And of course, we went over the Negasonic Teenage Warhead, and then really small picture. If I had more time, I would have blown it up and everything. But a very popular Netflix series, Squid Game. And they've got one of the people there from Squid Game that's like the monitor of the games and stuff, which was cool to see. All different things, as we've talked about all episode long, that people dress up as. And then, of course, we've got plenty of horror stuff that was there. We didn't grab too many pictures because it is standard horror that you see, and we're going to probably review much more of that come around Halloween time.
Right.
But the last...
Did we get the on the horror pictures? Did we get the one of that big tall son of a bitch?
The one on the left, that's the big tall one on the stick.
Yeah. It doesn't do him justice on the size.
Right. It was really big, but guys, that is it for today's show. It was really nice having y'all. It was really nice going. Like we said, if we've mentioned you or what you're doing, make sure to send us an email, drop those comments. Even if you just want to give us some feedback where we're going, what you want to see, we have our ears and eyes peeled open. With that being said, Matthew?
Well, guys, we have several kick-ass shows lined up over the next few weeks. I don't have his name and his credentials pulled up in front of me, but September 4th, we have a CEO in the gaming industry that's going to talk to us about the future of the gaming industry with the way that things are right now. We also, David and I got to talk about it, but we are not talk about it. I think next week, because we don't have the interview, next week we're going to discuss some movies. You know, we discussed Marvel movies that are coming up. We've discussed DC movies that are coming up. But we haven't discussed all the other cool shit that's coming up. These are movies like The Retaliators, The Samaritan, Prey. That came out. She-Hulk we discussed. Andor, I think we covered. There's the new Game of Thrones prequel. The new X-Men cartoon, I don't think we touched on, which is a continuation of the 1990s one. Another one I just touched on with David tonight. There are a lot. We kind of touched on this a couple of weeks ago, David, where there are a lot of James Gunn movies that people don't know that are James Gunn movies. And I'm not just talking about directing. I'm talking about these son of a bitch wrote them and directed them, maybe even produced them. And they are some of the most off-the-wall movies that you wouldn't check out if you were just flipping through your streaming services. I have watched 3 in the last 2 weeks. I am a serious James Gunn fan now. A couple of weeks ago, we revealed that the Belko Experiment was by James Gunn. I have found a couple of others that are just, we got to share. We got to get you on the James Gunn train. And I'm hoping, maybe I can put out some of my feelers and get James to at least give us some comments. Maybe not come on the show, but at least
give us. Love you, James. Come on the show.
James, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. Folks, we are. I know we've mentioned it a couple of times. I don't see them sitting around here right now, but we got those earbuds that we're going to be giving away. Over the next couple of days, expect on this channel that we're going to have some unboxings and reviews. I got like 5 reviews of some really cool shit that I've been given lately. David, you got to experience one of them, that damn Mars Rover speaker that I got. It's a Bluetooth speaker, folks. You ain't going to believe this damn thing. It's by Gravitas. And I move it into the bathroom when I take a shower, which I had a shower speaker, a Bluetooth shower speaker, but this sucker rocks it out. I got a concert in the shower every other night. But yes, we got a lot of stuff coming. We got some stuff coming with Colgate. Colgate is about to be joining us as a sponsor. We got a couple of other folks that are coming in that are about to be sponsors. This is only our 8th episode on this show, ladies and gentlemen, and we're still finding our footing on this. And But one thing you're going to see a lot more of in the coming weeks and months is interviews. We are going to amalgamate some of the Geek Speak formatting, and we're going to bring in folks that are in the gaming industry, cryptocurrency industry, any kind of geek stuff, because David and I can hit them with two different kind of angles. We got the young and we got the old as fuck. And so we can be able to hit this from two different angles. Make sure you are subscribing. Now, one last thing, we have that contest coming up. You're going to have to listen to 2 complete shows in order to win this prize. Now, these earbuds are, I can't call them earbuds. No, I can't call them AirPods. They're Bluetooth earbuds.
Bluetooth wireless.
Yeah. Well, they are $150, and I don't have the brand name in front of me. Damn it! I should have had this stuff out. But we're going to give those away. But you're going to have to listen to 2 full shows, because we're going to give a secret word each week for 2 weeks in a row. And it's not going to come up in the banner across, so you can't cheat and just go and look for that. It's going to be said during the show. You turn in both of those keywords to us at the specific email we tell you, and out of the correct entries, we're going to draw one person to win these badass fucking earbuds. And so make sure that you are subscribed. Tell your friends to subscribe. If they win, maybe they'll, at least buy you a beer. But David, tell them good night before I close this out with the regular closeout.
Guys, good night. I hope y'all have a wonderful week ahead of y'all. I'd like to thank everybody for listening, our supporters, anybody that is involved with us. We can't do this without y'all, and we do this for y'all. With that being said, Matthew?
Damn, dude, you said that good. All right, folks, you've been listening to Into the Geekverse, a Geek Insider production. Subscribe to Geek Insider Podcast on your favorite listening app, or join us live on YouTube and Facebook every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Central. Visit geekinsider.com for tons of great geek content, and be sure to sign up for the newsletter. We also have advertising opportunities for the website, newsletter, and podcast. And for more information, contact advertising at geekinsider.com. As always, this show is dedicated to our cohort and friend, Meredith Locker. Rest in peace, Meredith. Never mind. It's really hard to move on without you, Meredith. I actually have something coming, David. I don't know if I've talked to you about it. I'm going to have it ready for next week's show. But it is something that is a tribute to Meredith and all of the things that we did on Geek Speak. And speaking of which, we were talking about interviews a while ago. I have got some things in the works that we're going to start bringing in some folks and different folks from the Geek Speak era. So more actors, directors, writers, the whole 9 yards. We're going to start bringing them in, as well as the gamers and the NFTs and the metaverse and all of that stuff that belongs in the Geekverse. But anyway, we'll see you next week, and you better be there. Or, David, what is it we might have to do?
We might have to revoke your geek card.
That's it. Thanks, everybody. We hope you have a fantastic week. You're having too much fun with that head. But I got to ask, is that the first time you've had head in a while? All right. Good night, everybody. Have a great week.
All right, everybody. Bye.